Hello, hello, hello. Today we're doing Rick Wakeman and the English rock ensemble, a gallery of the imagination. Clever. One of the great things about streaming is I don't have to buy records, and I wouldn't have bought this. Now, again, if you have the weak disposition, or you're a really fervent Rick Wakeman fan, I'm going to ask you to click away now, because I don't want to hurt your feelings. Because this is a review, a proper review, not one of those let's blow smoke up the arse of the artist reviews that you get everywhere else. This is, a bona fide review. All right, have we got that? Have we got that clear? Good. So anyway, this is a concept album by Mr. Rick Wakeman. A concept album indeed. Even the album sleeve kind of takes you back to pictures at an exhibition by ELP, doesn't it? Because it's about a musical gallery. Again, Rick Wakeman explains that he likes wandering around museums and galleries and likes the idea of the music on this record. Maybe inspiring people to create their own art. It's a very lofty and noble sentiment. Well done, Mr. Rick. Well done. 100 years ago, if Rick Wakeman would have been born, 100 years previously, I think he would have been one of Britain's greatest classical composers. I think he'd have been known for his classical music and his ability to create a memorable tune. But unfortunately he wasn't, and so he ended up in Yes. And here we are. I think I genuinely love Rick Wakeman as a person. I think he's funny, very intelligent, an absolute consummate musician. Music pours out of him. Incredibly talented man. And then I have to listen to this. Because it's not for me. It's not for me. It starts with, I've got to get the track listings up, Hidden Depths. Again, Hidden Depths is a instrumental. There's a couple of instrumentals on here. The Creek, I think, is another one, which is a piano piece. And the Dinner Party. Dinner Party, I think, is probably the best one. It's the strongest track on the record. And again, these tracks are quite memorable. Mr. Wakeman does know how to deliver a tune. In fact, the majority of the tracks on the record are quite tuneful and are quite memorable. But like I said, it's not for me because there are a couple of I have a few issues. One, the production. It's funny enough because I'd only reviewed Mike Oldfield's Islands a few prog reviews back, and this reminds me, the production on this just reminded me of the 80s. It's got a certain glassy sheen to it that that just transports you back to that era of record production when things were done for CD. And everything was really kind of, shiny. Not that this needs to be gritty. It was the same issue I had with Red Planet. Red Planet was a very 70s kind of concept album. I think that was not the last album, the album before that. I think there's been an album in between. I don't follow these things. But anyway, Red Planet was very concept driven. It's about Mars, and there was lots of Moogs and old synthesizers, but it sounded very shiny. And that production has kind of been transferred onto this. But anyway, the instrumentals they're fine, they're serviceable. I quite liked the Dinner Party. I thought it was quite a it's a good little tune. Didn't mind it. But the rest, oh boy, the rest are vocals, and again, it makes me sound terrible. Hayley Sanderson is the vocalist, and again, she has a very 1980s vocal delivery. I mean, she's not a bad vocalist, I'm not saying that. But she sings throughout the entire record. There's no variety. Again, at least with Mike Oldfield's Islands albums, you do have guest vocalists. And I think this would have done, if this would have been made in a different time, I think Wakeman would have used different vocalists on different tracks. So, you know, the voice tends to, get a bit boring after a while. But it's that certain kind of syrupy female vocal that doesn't work for me. I just don't enjoy it. It's very, like I say, 80s, almost 80s pop, that kind of, or what they call it, middle of the road, MOR kind of music. And again, I don't like to speak in these terms because these are talented people. Great, more talented than I'll ever be, but they produce music that isn't for me. And I have to say that. I have to be true to myself and to the viewers of this wretched video. And so it was a bit of a hard slog for me getting through it, because it did feel incredibly old-fashioned, and some of the lyrics are a little bit, some of the lyrics are a little bit twee. There's a track called "Only When I Cry." Only when I cry, angels fly. I sat in an apple pie and then watched a Heidi High. I think that's how the lyrics went, but they rhymed a lot. I feel a terrible, terrible person for doing this. Terrible, terrible person. So yeah, but Cuban Carnival came on, and it reminded me of ABWH, Teak-Bois. He goes da 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 da, da. And I nearly went, here's the totally tropical taste. It was a bit like the Lilt advert, they've got rid of Lilt now. They've turned it into Fanta. And did you know Fanta was invented by the Nazis? There you go. There's so much to unpack there. So educational, this video. Educational. I'm not only slagging music off, but I'm also educating you as well. Cuban Carnival, which I guess you could say Rick Wakeman may be charged with musical appropriation, musical cultural appropriation, is it's corny and fun. I enjoyed it for the wrong reasons. But yeah, if you're of a certain age and you like Rick Wakeman, you're going to love this album. But I can't imagine anybody else enjoying it. But I'm sure lots of people do, and I'm the exception to the rule because I'm a horrible, horrible man. But yeah, it's 54 minutes long. I listened to it on the dog walk. It's like, nah, not for me. And yeah, go and check it out. It's on streaming. This is the good thing now, is you don't have to buy this. You could, crank up Spotify or YouTube Music. That's my streaming platform of choice, and have a little listen to it yourself. And maybe you'll get your brushes out and your oils, and maybe you'll be inspired to paint a picture for the gallery of Rick Wakeman's imagination. It could be a thing. So yeah, not really a prog record, really more an 80s kind of pop, MOR pop record with a couple of fairly okay-ish instrumentals in there as well. The piano pieces are really nice. He's again, this is the thing. Well, Wakeman he's a great musician, but I don't know. It's just me. It's not him. It's me. It's always me. It's not him. It's me. And yeah, that's my review of A Gallery of the Imagination by Mr. Rick Wakeman and the English Rock Ensemble. It's the same people that played last time. Lee Pomeroy on bass, Dave Calhoun, I can't get his name right, Dave Calhoun on guitar, and Ash Sohn on drums, with vocals by Ailey Sanderson. Yeah, I think again, if the record had a multitude of guest vocalists, a bit of star power, might have made it a little bit more interesting for me. But yeah, that was that. And The neighbours, they love making a noise. But I'm not a professional YouTuber, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, thank you for watching. That's that. PROG.